Hey, Shalom, Sister Kate here. It's going to be very, very warm here today. And so, what I'm doing is getting out a little bit earlier than I normally do. And I am going to do some chores. And I'm so disgusted. I gotta tell you, our culture is just so shameful these days. And old timers would tell us, the boomers, the same thing. Y'all are just shameful. You got this rock and roll music, you got people doing all these drugs. Uh, None of you want to hold a job down, none of you have any purpose. Shame on you, right? Well, that's the same thing we're doing now. How can a culture go from winning to losing in just 4 years? Well, you're watching it happen right now. And a really big sign to me, besides all the other signs I've talked about, is what's happened lately. In the last, week? The Columbus Dispatch ran a story that's now getting national attention. And of course, the reporter lady knew it would. Shame on her for running it the way she did. About a 10-year-old who'd been raped, who'd seen a doctor who specialized in abuse patients, and I believe she was raped in Ohio, 6 weeks pregnant. She's 10 years old. For crying out loud, this poor kid. She's going across state lines. She's going over to Indiana to get an abortion because Indiana still allows it and Ohio doesn't. Now, yeah, that sounds a little bit extreme, but that's how it works in a republic. You get a state that says, well, fine, and another one that says, nope. And so you just go to the state that says, yeah, fine, to whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. The shame of the story is, it's not the little girl. She's definitely not at fault here. The shame of the story is the reporter, the doctors, parents. How do you let your 10-year-old get raped? And the shame of the reporter is she's not reporting who did it. Why are we not hearing about the perpetrator in this story? Why is the focus on, well, it's so terrible that she has to cross state lines, that her state has decided that it doesn't agree with abortion being a legal right, and they just want to get rid of it from their state? Why is that the story? Well, folks, that's what's called politicizing. You politicize something when you report a story in such a way that it suits your narrative, the message you want to get across, and this is not what journalism started out as. Journalism started out as people reporting stories, all sides of a story. You were a good reporter if you talked to everyone involved and reported from all sides of the story. Oh, snap, let me show you something. Be prepared. Look at that. That looks almost prehistoric right there, and it is. It's the skeleton of a snake that has been picked clean in less than a week by all the natural bugs, birds, critters, whose job it is to keep rotting carcasses from laying around, because rotting carcasses are full of bacteria and make people sick. But it looks pretty scary when you just come upon it in a walk. Anyway, I want to know who raped this poor little 10-year-old. And I think that person ought to be punished quite severely. And I think if my state, and I don't mean it like I own the state, I mean it like the state in which I live, decided it was tired of having these long, drawn out court battles, jury, whatever, legal processes Not jury, because jury is what's going to save you in the end if you're innocent. But these long, expensive, drawn out court battles, that's not what the Constitution guarantees. Constitution guarantees you a swift and speedy trial. So what happened to that? Anyway, this little girl, she is innocent. She is a victim of some sort of adult male. Yeah, adult male, guys. Could be your dad, grandpa, uncle. Could be your pastor. Could be your neighbor. Could be somebody in the school system. It's wow. This poor thing, it's probably the only one that's going to blossom this year. Is suffering because of the lack of water right now. What we need is swift and speedy trials. What we need is justice. And justice is just like righteousness. Justice is you get what you deserve. Someone who rapes a 10-year-old child does not deserve to go to jail for 2 years and then be set free. That's not what they deserve. Not in my book. They deserve a swift and speedy trial and be taken out behind the courthouse and shot or hung or whatever, lethally injected the day after the crime is committed. That's what they deserve. That's justice right there. Not this female reporter, shame on her, politicizing this poor little kid, making it into a big scandal, and not reporting and actually investigating who hurt this child and reporting that. All right. That's all I'm saying for right now. Think about it. Shalom.